There is a particular kind of hunger that has nothing to do with food. You cannot sleep it away. It lives in the chest, quiet on ordinary days, loud and restless on the days when life reminds you of the distance between where you are and where you know you are supposed to be. Chukwuma Amadi knew that hunger from the time he was old enough to hold a pencil. He drew on anything: torn exercise books, compound walls, the margins of his siblings' homework. He drew his father sleeping in the plastic chair by the window. He drew his mother's hands, the tiredness of them, the way they moved even when they were still. His mother would hold those drawings a little longer than necessary before setting them aside. The holding said enough. Welcome once again to Tales by the Wordsmith, and this is the story of Chukwuma Amadi, 25 years old from Enugu, a boy who decided to reach for the stars from the bottom of a very deep valley. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the story.
The Amadi compound sat in one of those neighborhoods in Enugu that is not quite poor enough to break you, but not quite stable enough to give you peace. The kind of place where everyone knows each other's business, not from nosiness, but from proximity. Walls thin, yards shared, and only so much distance between one family's joy and another family's grief. Ubaka Amadi drove a commercial bus for a living. 17 years on that road. Every morning before 5, before the children were awake, before the birds had properly committed to the day, he would leave. And every evening he would return, quieter than when he had left. The way men who carry the weight of other people's survival tend to get quiet by the end of the day. He would eat whatever Ogechi had kept warm, answer the children's questions in brief, gentle sentences, and sleep. On Sundays, he laughed. Sunday was the day Ubaka Amadi remembered he was more than his responsibilities. Ogechi was the one who kept everything standing, invisibly, continuously, without credit or complaint. She sold provisions from a small kiosk at the front of the compound. She cooked, she prayed, she attended to the particular emotional weather of 4 children with 4 different temperaments, and gave each one the version of herself they needed on any given day. She understood, with a mother's particular intelligence, that her eldest son's drawings were not a hobby, they were a language, the most honest one he had. Agnes was 20, firstborn daughter, serious and self-contained in the way of children who watched their parents work too hard for too long. She was doing a secretarial course, determined to become useful as quickly as possible. She did not have the luxury, she felt, of chasing anything as uncertain as a dream. Nneka was 19, openly emotional, brilliant in English and literature, the one who cried at films and argued loudly at dinner and brought friends home without warning. She was nurturing a private hope she had not yet spoken aloud to anyone. And Obina, 15, still becoming himself, was the one who most openly worshipped Chukwuma. He followed his elder brother with the quiet dedication of someone collecting a blueprint for how to be a man. This was the Amadi family. 4 children and 2 parents held together by love and by the unspoken agreement that runs through every struggling household in this country. We will not give up on each other. Chukwuma had graduated secondary school at 18 with results that were more than good enough. His art teacher, a lean, passionate man named Mr. Ekweme, who wore the same 2 shirts on alternating days and quoted African artists from memory, had told him plainly in his final year, "You have something, Chukwuma. Don't waste it." He applied to the University of Lagos. Not randomly, not out of stubbornness, though people would later call it that. He had chosen Lagos because Lagos was where the galleries were, where the collectors were, where Nigerian art was finding its modern voice and its international audience. If painting was not merely something he did, but something he was, then Lagos was the only honest answer. The University of Lagos did not agree, not that year. He reapplied. The family scraped together the fees. The process moved with that particular exhaustion built into Nigerian institutional systems, as though the structure itself is testing how badly you want something before deciding whether you deserve a response. The second year passed, then the third. People who loved him told him to let it go. Apply somewhere else, somewhere closer. Lagos is not the only place. You are wasting your best years. Chukwuma heard them. He considered it, truly, seriously, in the late nights when doubt came and sat beside him uninvited. He would lie on his side of the room he shared with Obina, his younger brother's soft breathing filling the dark, and stare at the ceiling, asking himself the question he could never fully answer. Am I being stubborn, or am I being faithful? Each morning, the answer resolved itself back to the same place. Lagos, UNILAG, fine arts, that and nothing else.
So he worked. He took jobs that had nothing to do with art and everything to do with survival. He painted signboards for small businesses, bold block letters on wood and zinc, rough commercial work with nothing in common with canvas and galleries, but that kept money moving through his hands. He helped a printing shop on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He did odd jobs that came and went with the seasons. He saved what he could, gave what he should to the family upkeep, kept the rest somewhere private, building slowly toward a future that had not yet agreed to receive him. He did not stop painting. That was the one thing he refused to negotiate, not with poverty, not with fatigue, not with the 5 years quietly eating what should have been the beginning of his adult life. Every canvas he could afford, every scrap of material that would hold paint. He kept working, kept developing, kept talking to his work the way artists do when there is no audience and no validation and no external reason to continue, except the absolute interior insistence. This is what I was made for. His work got better in those years, noticeably, measurably better. The waiting had cost him time, but it had given him something classrooms sometimes take years to teach: the seriousness of a person who had had to earn their place twice. And then, one Thursday in March 2026, standing on a short ladder outside a barber shop, with paint-stained hands and the afternoon sun on his back, his phone buzzed. Congratulations, you have been offered admission to study fine and applied arts at the University of Lagos. He read it 4 times. His chest did something he had no word for. Not quite joy, not quite relief, something older and more complicated than either. The feeling of a door opening that you had stood outside of so long you had begun, secretly, to wonder if it was real. He climbed down from the ladder. He sat on the ground right there on that dusty roadside, and he wept, quietly, the kind of crying that is not sadness and not quite happiness, the kind that is simply 5 years of pressure finding its exit. Then he got up, finished the sign, collected his payment, and went home. He told his mother first. He found her in the kitchen, her back to the door, stirring something on the gas. He said her name once. When she turned and saw his face, she put the spoon down before he said another word. UNILAG, she said. UNILAG, he said. Chukwuma Amadi pressed her son's face between her 2 hands and looked at him for a long time without speaking. Then she said the words he would carry for the rest of his life. God does not forget a patient child. When Ubaka came home that evening and heard the news, he sat with it the way quiet men sit with large things. Then he called Chukwuma to him, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "Go and make us proud, and don't come back the same person." Agnes asked practical questions about accommodation and costs, because that was how Agnes loved people. Nneka wept loudly and told him he was her hero. And Obina, quiet, watchful Obina, came to him late that night when the compound had settled, sat on the edge of his bed, and said, "Brother, when it's my turn, will you show me how?" Chukwuma looked at this boy, 15 years old, the whole impossible future ahead of him. He said, "By the time it's your turn, I will have already cleared the road." Nothing prepares you for Lagos
You can hear about it, watch videos, have it described by 10 different people who have lived there for 10 different years. None of it prepares you for the actual experience of arriving. The heat and the noise and the movement, the way everyone already knows where they are going and has somewhere else to be after. The roads wide and choked simultaneously. The ocean smell carried on certain winds, mixing with traffic and food and raw, unapologetic ambition. Chukwuma arrived with one large bag, a portfolio of his best work wrapped carefully in cloth, and a specific amount of money that had to last longer than it reasonably could. His hostel had peeling paint, a communal bathroom that required its own emotional adjustment, and a mattress that had clearly supported many academic careers before his. But the window faced east. Every morning, the light came through that window and fell across the floor in a long, warm rectangle. And Chukwuma thought, I can work here. I can work anywhere, but this will do. He met Uche on the third day. Uche Chi Okonkwo. Uche, to everyone who knew him past the first 5 minutes, was from Umuahia in Abia State. Third child in a family of 5, the only boy among 4 sisters, a fact that gave him equal parts warmth and theater. He was studying theater arts. He was the kind of loud that comes not from needing attention, but from being genuinely interested in everything around him. They met at a small bukateria near campus. Chukwuma slipped into ego when the Yoruba words didn't come fast enough. Just a small reflexive switch. And across 4 plastic tables, Uche spun around with the most delighted expression. Nah, Ibuanye Ibo. They talked for 3 hours. About home, about their families, about the strange loneliness of arriving in a city that does not know you and does not initially care to, about art and theater, and whether the two were really as different as their departments insisted. Chukwuma told him about the 5 years, the waiting, the signboards, the ceiling. Uche listened the way theater people listen, fully, actively, as though your story is worth staging. When Chukwuma finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You know what that means? It means when you finally make it, and you will, no one will be able to say it came easy. You will have earned every single thing, and nobody can take earned things." They became brothers from that evening, not by blood, but by shared language, shared hunger, and shared distance from everything familiar. And in that small bukateria, over cheap food and cold drinks, and the noise of a city that did not yet know their names, 2 young men from the East made a quiet, unspoken promise to each other. We will not go back the way we came. But Lagos, as Chukwuma would soon discover, does not simply reward the willing, it tests them. The university had its own politics, its own hidden costs, and the people Chukwuma would meet in those lecture halls and studio spaces, some of them would pour into him, and some of them would quietly, deliberately try to take from him the one thing 5 years of waiting had built: his belief in himself. There was a lecturer with connections and an agenda. There was a friend who wore loyalty on his face and kept something else entirely underneath it. There were nights when the money ran out, and the phone calls from Enugu carried news that sat on his chest like stone. And there was a canvas, one single painting that would one day stop a room full of strangers cold. But that story, that part of Chukwuma Amadi's journey, is for part 2.
If this story already has you feeling something, if you saw yourself or your brother or your friend or the version of you that is still in the waiting season, then do not go anywhere. Part 2 is coming, and I promise you, the climb is worth watching. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it the moment it drops. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that holding on is not the same as being stuck. And drop a comment below. Tell me, are you a Chukwuma? Are you in your waiting season right now? I read every single one. This has been Tales by the Wordsmith. The road is long, but it is going somewhere. See you in part 2.